Here is my simple setup for this photo. I used this beautiful gold and green vinyl backdrop I got from, let's see, Club Backgrounds. And it was not long enough to be able to get my C-stand pole, so I had to tape it with graph tape to this black foam board. For light, I used continuous light. I used Godak's VL300 and this giant 31 by 47 softbox. I wanted the light modifier to be really big so it mimics window light, and I also placed it a little bit in front of my subject. Imagine the pair are sitting somewhere over here. That way this light, it will wrap around it and give me a nice graduation between highlights and shadows, and I would not need to put a bounce card over here. For camera, I use my Sony 7R4, and for the lens I use a Zeiss 85mm 1.8. I also put a filter on my lens. It's a Tiffen Pro Mist filter half strength. And that was pretty much my setup here. Once I took the picture, was my base image, just the background, nothing on it. Then I used this cup I had from a set. This is a trick that I do all the time when I do not have a stand that will match my scene. I'll use a cup and a bowl or a plate. And in this case, I had this cup that I moved the handle towards the back. And then I had this low, shallow bowl that was from the same set. And I put the bowl on top of the cup. The cup handles is in the back, that's why you don't see it. And it makes this beautiful little stand. Now, the bowl was a little bit too deep for my pears. And I had to put lots of paper in it, like paper towels. I fold them and put them on the bowl so that will give me a little bit of height to my pears. In order to camouflage that paper towels, I added this lightweight napkin fabric, not sure what it is. And then I placed my pears on it. The settings on my camera, I shot on 1/8 of a second. Shutter speed, f-stop was 7.1, ISO 100 at 85mm. Now let's edit this photo and see how we do it. Here we are on Lightroom, and before we begin editing this photo, I want to apologize for the background noise. We have construction going on outside. So as usual, when I start editing a photo, I will always start with the calibration panel. Because this photo has a lot of greens and orange in it, I am going to mess with the greens. So we'll move the hue of the greens to about 23. And that's going to take away some of the yellows in this green and make it a little bit more darker green, more blue green. And then we'll also increase the saturation to 23. So now the green and the orange became more vibrant. Here is the before and here is the after. Before and after. So that's what the calibration panel did. Now we'll go back to the basic panel. I want to see a little bit more of the beautiful background, so I'm going to increase the exposure to about +40, and I'll add some contrast because we lost a little bit of contrast because we used the mist filter, and I like that look, but it was a little bit too, it needed some contrast being a raw photo and all. The highlights, I'm gonna go to -9, and the shadows, we'll open up the shadows to +74. Whites, I'll add a little bit of whites, but not too much. I don't want to get those nasty highlights like that. So I'm only gonna add maybe 19. And for the blacks, I do not want to lose that background, so I don't want to get too dark like this, but I don't want to get it too light like this either. So we'll go to negative, let's see, 5. For texture, I'll do +20, and for clarity, we'll go to 15. Vibrance, I'll add 24, and now everything looks a little bit too saturated for my liking, so I'm gonna decrease the saturation to maybe -9. Moving on to sharpening, I'm gonna click Option on the Mac and drag to the right and only sharpen the pairs. We'll get this mask overlay. Remove chromatic aberration and enable profile correction. Oh, enable profile correction, it kind of brightened my image a little bit too much for my liking, so I'm gonna leave it unchecked. I like that better. So let's see, we started here and now we're here. Before, after. Now, the only other thing I like to do is to crop this image. So I'm gonna take the crop tool and we're gonna do an 8x10, one of my favorite crops. And let's see, that looks good to me. And that is our final image. Again, this is the before and this is the after. My name is Skylar Ewing. Thank you for watching this video and I will see you in the next one.